Hello.
Hi Callum, hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. Where are you calling us from today?
I'm in sunny Bathgate in Scotland. It's very grey outside.
Lovely, lovely. Well, congratulations on the new album.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Yeah. It's been a long time coming, this, hasn't it? How long has it been since you started working on this?
Well, to be honest, probably like most of our lives now.
Yeah.
You kind of have all your life to do the first album. And there's tracks in the album that were verses of them wrote when we were like 15, 16, maybe 17.
Yeah.
Right up until there was a track that was only finished maybe 6 or 7 months ago. So it's the full catalogue of the Snuts.
And I was taking a look at the track list, and this is a big album. Is it 17 tracks?
The deluxe is 17, the standard runs.
Do you think that the last year has affected the way you create music? Was a lot of this done beforehand, or was some of it wrapped up more recently?
Well, we kind of sat on the album for a while. In early March last year, we'd finished the mixtape EP that we'd done. Kind of, it was got to be a ramp into the album.
Yeah.
And just as we started to gig it, the world kind of locked down. So, and we kind of made the decision at that point that we really wanted to wait until we could actually play the songs for people till we released. So we hung off, and it kind of had a track list, and then we wrote more. And every single time you write a song, you're like, oh, it needs to go on the album. So it had lots of different incarnations, and that really led to how there is a deluxe and there is kind of these exclusive tracks, because we just had such a wealth of songs that we couldn't really cut down anymore. So we kind of came to the decision that we would do the deluxe with the label. But certainly through lockdown, the process has changed a bit, because we're so used to always just being in a room with each other and kind of like vibing off each other. And to start with, it was just none of that. We were just, everybody was in home. We were kind of trying to send stuff to each other through computers and kind of digital. And especially when we've lived most of our lives on top of each other now. We've known each other since I went to nursery with Jordan and Joe. So it's like we're kind of that used to being around each other. We're kind of out at sea without a paddle to start with. But we kind of quickly overcame that. And as soon as it was kind of safe again, we kind of became like one bubble, like the four of us, and we lived in the studio. And that's ultimately how somebody loves you. That's kind of how that came about. In itself was inspired kind of by lockdown, through a bit of street art that Jack saw. So without this happening, that would have never happened. So it's quite a nice thing. Was that the street art that's in the video, the graffiti? Yeah, well, to start with, Jack had just moved to Glasgow at the very start of lockdown, and it was kind of, everything was a bit hopeless to start. Like everything felt like there was no hope in the world. Everything was like fucked, for want of a better word. And he just saw this message. It was 3 words: somebody loves you. And then this really like striking image of a mother kind of cradling her child. And then it kind of fleshed out, turned into a song. And he spent months and months trying to track down the artist. And this guy was like totally, he was like Scottish Banksy. He was just like no way to be fit. And just by chance, he spoke to a guy at a venue who knew a guy who knew a guy. And eventually they kind of joined up after the camps. We got talking to him, and we kind of explained the premise behind the song and what we were wanting to do with the music video. And basically the label had gave us like a good sum of money to kind of do what we wanted with. And with kind of the chaos that was surrounding us, we thought that we might have, rather than just kind of indulging our own egos, actually do something that could maybe make a difference. And once he knew about that, he was right on board. So he kind of took his idea right down at the Clyde Walkway, this absolutely prime spot right on the River Clyde, and he just done it for us in broad daylight. It took him 2 days because he had to wait for paint to dry. But he just balaclava on, just spray paint. And what was really nice was not a single person that went by had anything negative to say about the message. Like it was because of a hopeful message, and it's like sometimes people just need to see something nice, like, do you know what I mean? They don't need to see a brown wall that's been painted over by the council. Sometimes like a nice message is enough to stop you in your tracks and make you realise that there is good in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do really love the music video for that. Have you had quite a good response in that from everything that's come from that video?
Definitely. I think the biggest thing was getting to shine as much a light on Scottish Refugee Council.
Yeah.
Because a group of people that dedicate their lives to just helping other people for no glory. It's not like it is strictly to help people. They offer they kind of, especially new people settling here, they offer English lessons, access to work, access to a community, choir, musical projects, sport, and just this wealth of stuff that, and if you think it was isolating being in your own country with your friends and family a call away, imagine being in a foreign country that you've just had to flee atrocities and you're here and you don't have anybody. So I think the biggest thing for us was actually getting to work with them. It really opened their eyes to what actually goes on in the world and how much difference small charities like that can genuinely make to real people's lives. So for us, that was personally the part that we're most proud of the project.
I was just going to say that. Did you have like a favourite track or a track you're most proud of off of the album?
I don't know. It's odd though because like kind of every kind of track has a kind of place, like, and they all kind of mean a different thing. So it's really the album as a whole we're really proud of. And for me personally, obviously getting to do that for someone loves you, sorry, I keep saying that. Getting to do that for somebody loves you, that was special. But every kind of track has a place in your heart. Do you know what I mean? They all kind of take you back to that time when it was getting wrote, or that time where the thing happened that inspired it. So it's quite hard to pick one as a favourite.
And out of the tracks that we haven't heard yet, which one are you the most excited for people to hear?
Top Deck's quite hard. That was Jack. The first verse to that was wrote when we were like maybe 15, 16, maybe 17. And it's kind of, what's quite nice about it is it's like it takes you right back for kind of our youth, right through to present day, which is like, it's almost like a catalogue of what's going on in our lives, which is quite nice. Also, there's a track, another acoustic one at the very end, Waterbirds, and that's at the end of the deluxe. And the very first lyric in Waterbirds the very last lyric in Waterbirds is the first lyric Jack ever wrote. So it's like this kind of.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's great. And also hope it encourages people to buy the deluxe album as well.
Yeah. And out of the songs as well, have you played them all live yet, or are there still some that we've not heard live or you've not performed to anyone?
We've just kind of completed a live stream there.
Yeah.
So technically, they've all been played live. There's an exclusive track called Idols that's never ever been played live. And we've played versions of every song live. It's just whether it's the version you hear in the album or just a version that we were playing at that time. That's where it kind of gets a bit hazy.
Yeah. And which was the one that's like the fan favourite that gets like a good response from the crowd?
It's Heart of Glasgow every time. Like that was like one of the first. I think we recorded that the first time for £100 with just a guy we knew, just one of our mates.
Yeah.
And for £100, I think it's been streamed like multiple million times. So it's like it's definitely worth the money. And it's just songs like that. It's really hard to get away from those because they just are. The fans genuinely love them.
I think that the fans are going to be very happy with like the track list, and like I'm having a look at it now, and we've got like All Your Friends. That's the first song that I heard from you guys like a couple of years ago, and that really got me onto your music. And Elephants as well, I love that one. And yeah, it's just sort of like it feels like a greatest hits with like all these little bonus ones in as well.
I mean, that is kind of the way that the track list was put together was kind of like we've got a serious wealth of songs.
Yeah.
And as an artist, you always kind of want to put your newest stuff on.
Yeah.
The record, it's just naturally you always think the new shit you've done is the best, and there's a bit of to and fro, especially with Parlophone. They want you to showcase us at our best whereas we just wanted to showcase every new song that we ever wrote. So it definitely means a lot that you've actually said that. So it's obviously, they were obviously right. We were wrong on this one, so I need to concede on that.
And as for the rest of the year, I've seen you've got a big tour that's going ahead a bit later on. A lot of that's already sold out as well. I was just having a look at tickets beforehand. I was like, half of it's already gone. So I'm guessing it must be, you know, a couple of years since you've done a proper tour now.
That would be, I think, the last one. We were just about to set off on one in March last year. When the world kind of locked down. So it definitely means a lot to be back out on the road, especially like as a band. That's your total bread and butter. That is when you feel at home. So to kind of not have that for a year was a bit daunting. And then every time it went to come back again, it would just get postponed again and postponed again. You kind of feel you're doing a disservice to fans who are like so happy to part with their cash every time, and you just aren't ever honouring your side of the agreement, which is like put on the show. So for us, that was kind of hard to come to terms with for a while. But then also you can't wallow in your own self-pity because there are people out there that have it so much worse. And we're lucky to be in a position that we have been able to keep creating and have been able to find these other outlets like live streams and even just to be active on social media and that. And a lot of people don't even have that. So in a way, we've kind of been quite lucky, but also in a way, it's been pretty hard.
And do you have a favourite venue on the tour?
Oh, Barrowlands.
Barrowlands, yeah. Is that the Glasgow one?
Yeah, it's one of those. It was an old ballroom.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, it was an old ballroom. So they say that the floors have got springs in them, so you can feel. I don't know how true that is, but there's just something. It's weird. It's even got like a smell, like the bar. And it's right in the heart of like the Barrowlands market, which is like you could buy anything from like a toaster to like a full suit of armour. So it's just this crazy place that's kind of like a melting pot of different cultures and ideas in Glasgow, and this venue is like right in the middle of it. The big signs, everything about it's just iconic. And that would be like some of the first gigs we ever seen. We're in the bar. So now to kind of go back, it's like a big kind of cycle. It's kind of like going home.
Do you remember any particular like moment in a gig like you thought, this is really what I need to do?
It's actually in the Barrowlands.
Yeah.
I've seen me, Jack, and just another one of our friends who home.
Yeah.
See Doherty as baby shambles, and the gig had been cancelled before because he'd been arrested. The gig happened, and we were so buzzing for it. And after the gig, another band played on the rooftop across the way, and everybody for the gig climbed on top of the roof, hanging out the window, giving it big licks. And that was like, I was kind of standing there like, this is what it's about. Like, because just having that, the power just to kind of like motivate people to go wild. Really is highlighted.
That's a pretty good one. I've not seen a rooftop gig myself, but that sounds pretty good.
Oh, watch this space.
We could instigate this for the tour coming up.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things to be able to do, but.
And who do you think is the most fun to be on tour with that you've been on tour with?
I'm trying to think even who. We've done a tour just the kind of tail end of not last year, the year before. Just before again everything locked down. And that was with Lewis Capaldi, and he's from like the stone's throw away from where we're from, so we always gigged in the same circuit. But Lewis, we had a big blowout with the full crew. Obviously they travel in style. They're probably one of the biggest money-making machines in the 21st century, I think. So that was quite eye-opening. It really showed us as well kind of where you can be. But we had a big blowout with him kind of last night. We were on the tour, and the rest of the tour got cancelled. So I don't know if it was to do with that or if it was another reason, but that was definitely good fun. That was a bit of a wild night.
And I noticed as well, before you were reaching out to smaller bands, to come and support you on tour? Are there any smaller bands that you've toured with, or that you just look up to, that you want to give a little shout out to?
Yeah, definitely. There is our mate Mark Sharp and the Bicycle Thieves. They're from just down the road. They've kind of been away with us quite a few times, right back to when we were starting out as well. Sharpie's always kind of been like a hype man, especially for the Snuts, which is class. Parley Amo, then also Parley Amo they've got like another kind of project, Mi Familia. That's kind of like a group of kind of creatives for up the top of Scotland, Dundee. They kind of all kind of work with each other. That's pretty class. The Ninth Wave for Glasgow, they're like gothic pop.
Oh, I've seen them once before. They're really good, yeah.
Really, truly brilliant. Lucia as well, kind of from the same scene in Glasgow. She's smashing it as well. Lucia and the Best Boys. We've actually got one of their guitars in our studio now. Yeah. But they're brilliant as well. This wee guy Connor Fife, he's kind of singer-songwriter type guy. He's also smashing it. There's such a wealth in music coming from Scotland, and it's quite hard to just like kind of hone in on one person, because it seems like the creative juices are definitely flowing up here.
Definitely. And what inspired you in particular to pick up the bass?
I honestly think it was. Have you ever seen obviously the music video for Arctic Monkeys, "Better Look Good in the Dance Floor"?
Yeah.
I seen it and it was like blew me away. I believe that, and I just started doing it. I was like, whoa! And I actually remember phoning Jack like, "I'm going to grow my hair long." Like, this is me, and this is all I can do now. And to be honest, to start with, I played guitar, and then they needed Jack. There was like about 15 reincarnations of the Snuts. It used to be Jack and the Snuts. We just needed a bassist, and I was like best mates with like all three of them. And they had a bassist before who used to play on the metal bits and the frets. Yeah. And he would figure out why he couldn't get a good sound out of the guitar. So he kind of got kicked out, and then they needed a bassist, and I could kind of play guitar. So I was like, fuck it, I'll play the bass. And the first gig we ever done was in our school. And then we covered Arctic Monkeys, "When the Sun Goes Down." And do you know the bass line and that? And I was like, this is class. So that was kind of me after that. That was my love affair with the four strings.
Who would you say like your bass hero is then?
James Jamerson, from basically every Motown hit you could imagine. I actually love Nick O'Malley for the Arctic Monkeys. I think his style, it's like very recognisable but totally understated. There's quite a few, some like that are like, obviously there's like the classic Flea, and that's like everybody's like first introduction. My God, this guy's mind blowing. So James Jamerson though, number one.
And I got the listeners to send in a few questions for you as well. So I've got one from Anna, and she wants to know, what is the best bit of advice that you've been given?
About music, or just like ever?
Generally.
If you fail to prepare to fail. That's it.
That's a good one. And we've got Jackie. She wants to know, what's the most embarrassing thing to happen to you on stage?
Once my guitar was off, and I played a transmit, and I played the full song. And then I said to everybody, "Oh, did you notice?" And they were like, "No, I never even noticed." I was like, "Fuck, I don't know if that's worse."
Yeah.
I didn't even know if I wasn't playing. And also, there was once, it wasn't on stage, but I just left stage, and I was walking through the crowd with the rest of the band, and somebody stopped me. I thought for a picture, but it was just to ask me to take a picture of them and the band. Not really. I was like, that is bass player problems, though.
And I've got one from Megan, and she wants to know, what's the bass line that you wish you'd written?
Tame Impala, less I know the better.
Yeah, that's the one.
it's so simple too.
Yeah.
That's what's it's so iconic, but so simple. So that is the bass line I wish I'd wrote.
And who would you say has had the most influence on your sound then as a band?
To be honest, any producer we've worked with.
Yeah.
Inflow. At the time, it was hard to digest what he was teaching us.
Yeah.
And it felt really uncomfortable. And then Tony Hoffer was the opposite. It was like the most comfortable experience ever, and you were just learning and you didn't even really realise. So both experiences, you didn't really realise how much you were learning, but both in totally different ways. But I would like to go back in to the studio with Inflow, and I think it would be a much more, like definitely a better experience.
And can we expect to see you at any festivals this year? Yeah,
hopefully Reading and Leeds, and also I think really anything that goes on that is coming on, it's providing Reading and Leeds goes ahead. I think every lineup is staying the same but just shifting. So I think we'll start to see festivals like kind of maybe later on in the year, and maybe not to the same scale, but it would be good to get out to a couple. But we're definitely playing Reading and Leeds should it happen. Well, I'm confident it will happen, but we'll just need to wait and see.
And I've got a bit of a quick fire round for you now.
Okay.
So what's the best thing about West Lothian?
Tony's Pizza Bar. Pizza
Bar. What was the last song that you listened to?
I could tell you right now. I'll just get my Spotify up. Bonobo, Break Apart.
And what's your favourite track to play live? I think I might have already asked you this.
Nah, I don't know. See, they've all kind of got a place.
Yeah.
I love All Your Friends though, but that's a strictly ego thing.
Yeah.
Because I was flying back and I'm like...
What advice would you give to your younger self starting out?
Practice more.
Yeah.
Genuinely, actually practice more. Spend more time listening to music rather than worrying about your hair and generally partying.
What was the first album that you bought?
The first album I ever bought. This is actually embarrassing. No, sorry, I never bought that album, so that doesn't count. I was going to say now, but the first genuinely I bought, it was, do you know when HMV used to do 2 for 10?
Yeah.
I got Rosie's Appetite for Destruction and the Clash.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a Clash album. It was like a Clash Greatest Hits or something. But Appetite for Destruction.
That's a pretty good one. Pretty good first one.
I listened to it recently though. It has not aged.
What do you order from Greggs?
Oh, Greggs. I like those bacon and cheese turnovers, but they're hard and central. So I've started just getting baguettes recently.
Yeah. I don't normally...
So you don't get Scotch pies down there, eh? A Scotch pie is brilliant.
No, I've never seen that in a Greggs. I think our Greggs are pretty limited.
No, it's just like a pie with the cheapest mints imaginable, and I don't even know. I think it's 8% mint in the rest. Breadcrumbs and shit.
I'll have to try one. Is that strictly a Scottish thing?
Yeah, I've been in Manchester and that before. And a Scotch pie, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Pie. Scotland.
And would you like to do a little plug? So if people want to hear some more from the Snuts and the new album, where can they find you?
If you want to hear more from the Snuts and WL, we are on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and most importantly, we're available to buy in any indie record store surrounding you, hopefully, with exclusive vinyls.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us.
Oh no, pleasure of mine. Thanks very much. Thanks for your time today.